So I'm really stumped on this error that I cannot solve, and it all has to do with this reorderable list right here. So it's on a deformable script, and this list here holds deformer elements. So what is a deformer element? It's just a serializable struct that holds a reference to a deformer. What is a deformer? Well, all that matters is it's a mono behavior, so it can be in the scene, and then a bool called active. So it just holds these two things. It is serializable. That's what it stores here. So I've added two extra ways you can add to this list that I think work a lot better for kind of how my tool works. And that is a drag and drop area and a custom window that you can click on these deformers and they'll get added. These buttons will create a new deformer and add it to the list automatically. So I've already got one created, a bin deformer. You can see it is a deformer. So if I select a deformable object and I drag this bin deformer onto the area, you see it gets added. And you've got your toggle for active. It's not actually doing anything right now, but this is your active bool, and then this is your deformer reference. That's what makes up the deformer element struct. So I'm going to clean it here, or clear it here, and then you can see I can also click I'll click noise, and you see it creates a new game object with the noise deformer, which is a deformer, and then it adds it to the list. So I'm going to clear it again and delete this. So it looks like it works great, right? But no, it actually doesn't. If I have multiple objects like this, so these are all deformable objects. If I have more than one selected and I drag a deformer here or I click a deformer on the deform window, if I drag here, you see now I get this error. So what in the world, why am I getting an error? So you think maybe is it pointing to my drag and drop code, or if I clicked here, maybe it was pointing to my window GUI. It's actually pointing to the deformer list, reorderable list draw element callback. So this code right here runs for each element in the list. So I get this error, and it points to trying to get the active property. So trying to get the property for this bool right here. So it's a child property of the element element property I'm getting right here. So I'm getting the property of the current element in the array. So I'm getting this is the deformer element. This is its active bool. This is its deformer reference. And so from what I understand, this is working. Getting the property is working. So if I like here, I'll clear this list, clear this error. If I attach it to Unity and I drag it in here, I'm gonna get an error. But you see, serialized property array element type is a deformer element, so it knows what it's storing, and then I can scroll down to is array is true. So it's an array, and then it also, I believe it says, let's see, has children is true. So it says it has child properties. I go to the next line, and this gets assigned, and it's not null, but the weird thing is I can't open it up. I can't see what's in this property. It's a serialized property, but this serialized property, this is a serialized property, but I can look at it. So I'm not sure what's going on here. So maybe something is messing up here, but from what I understand, I am correctly getting this array element at the index. But as soon as I try and get any of its child elements, this is where I get the error. This is where, if I stop it, this is where I get the operation is not possible and move past all properties. And then sometimes I get these errors, like type is not supported float value, but I only, from what I can tell, I only get these when I am like breakpointing something and debugging it in Visual Studio. So I don't think this is an issue, but maybe somebody recognizes this and it's an issue. So what is going on here? I'll retrigger the error so I can show you another weird thing. So I drag in the bin deformer, I get the error. If I deselect and reselect, it draws it properly. So somehow the serialized property or the serialized object is out of sync with the actual list in memory. And reselecting it, I guess, syncs it back up again. But the weirder thing is if I clear this list and then I drag it, it adds correctly. So what if I have just now selected it and the list is empty and I add it, I get the error. If I deselect reselect, it's drawing it normally. I remove it and I add it. After it's drawing it normally, then it continues to draw it normally, even though it was removed and then re-added. So it's completely confusing. I have no idea what's going on. Um, and you may be wondering, you know, what? Well, let's just make sure your drag and drop code isn't doing anything weird. Well, it's not. I've debugged it. It's here. Where is it? Drag and drop component area. So this basically draws this area, and then you give it a type of component you want it to accept. So I'm giving it deformer, and then if something is drag and drop there, it'll return a list of the components that are dropped there. So basically, I'm then checking, is it null? It's not null. Does it have actual elements in there? And I'll put a breakpoint right here so you can see. Okay, so it's there. I drop it here. I hit this breakpoint, so I've gotten my list of elements, which is just that bend deformer. And then I loop through all the selected objects. I get each selected object's elements array or list, and then I add the bend deformer, or whichever ones were drag and dropped. So I add each one here, and you can see, well, how do you know it was drag? Well, I'll just look at all the targets, so all the different objects I've selected, and you see if I go to deformer elements, it now has the bend deformer. I can go to the next one, and it has the bend deformer. Just to slam it home, I'll go to the last one. It has the bend deformer. So the actual list in memory is fine. It is getting added correctly. There's no nonsense there. It's the actual serialization that's weird. And I've put like serialized object.update here. I put it in the actual inspector GUI where the other stuff like up here is drawn, but no dice. So I don't know. I'm confused. I've even tried making the deformer element a class. That didn't change anything. I'm really stumped. I've been stuck on this for days, and I'm not sure what's going on.